I've already clocked in over 800 miles since I moved up to Virginia and transversed through West Virginia. I'm now in Ohio, about to leave Ohio, but before I leave Ohio, I'm going to pay a visit to the National Museum of the Air Force. I had quite the life in the Air Force. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I believe, next to God, the Air Force saved my life. Because graduating high school, I could have gone on a partial scholarship at a local university, but I didn't want that. That's a basketball scholarship. But enlisting in the Air Force was the best decision ever made in my life. Because even though I was a good student, I would have ended up on the streets, gotten in trouble, maybe some jail time, prison at worst. But the Air Force afforded me an opportunity to get a free education. I earned a bachelor's degree and 2 associate's degrees. Placed me on the path to just being responsible, to being organized and neat. I'm almost too neat and organized. I even get on my own nerves sometimes. But I'm not opposed to any young person enlisting or becoming a commissioned officer within the armed forces. I prefer the Air Force. I think the lifestyle is more geared. It's almost more city-like. I didn't feel like I was in the military when I was in the Air Force. But it was a great life, a great life. I know lots of parents are opposed to their children going to the military, but I think that's one of the best things that a young person can do right now, especially nowadays. Look, many of our young people are lost, they're wayward, they're prone to getting addicted on drugs, ending up in prison, in jail, just not knowing how to conduct themselves in society. And the military, going to the Air Force, taught me etiquette. It taught me decorum. It taught me protocol. In other words, it taught me discipline. And many of our young people lack discipline. What's 4 years? What's a 4-year sacrifice out of one's life? And when they come out on the other side, they gain so much. They gain so many benefits that places them on that path that leads to a better life for themselves.
Above doorways as you enter or leave the building. Above the missile gallery is open until 4:30 p.m. Museum exit doors are located in the museum atrium at the
I'm going to do the early years, and then I'll come back and do World War II and forward. These are engines that were installed in those old aircraft. Now look at this thing.
Gentleman's name, he's from Georgia, but age 12, his father said, get out, dodge as quick as you can. So he stowed away on a freighter, ended up going to England first, but ended up in France. So when World War I started, he joined the French Foreign Legion. He was an infantryman. He won the Corps de Guerre. I'm sure his display.
Mm-hmm.
So very great gentleman. He was a professional boxer.
Oh, what was the name of that book again?
All Blood Runs Red.
All Blood Runs Red.
Wounded at the Battle of Verdun, a massacre from both sides. Well, anyway, when Lafayette Escadrille folded into the American Army Air Service, they wouldn't allow him because he was colored. So he ended up going back fight for the French, but he punched out his squadron commander, so he ended up as a regular gunner on aircraft. Afterwards, he operated a nightclub in Paris, and then the Germans invaded. I guess he was a very active anti-fascist thing before the war, and I guess he was on the Germans' hit list. So he got his two daughters managed to get back to the States, but when he got to Europe, he never had a passport. He never had a passport. So he had to wait till, I think it was in Portugal, trying to get a passport. He made it back to the States, but with an elementary education, he ended up working on the docks in New York. And then there's a 1950 segment called The Today Show. And he was an elevator operator in the NBC building, and they found out what a war hero he was in World War I, and they had a nice little interview about that. So when he passed away, the French government gave him a full military funeral.
That's wonderful.
So the book is, I said, All Blood Runs Red.
I will check it out. All right, Sam, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'd wear that. I'm a hat person. The bug.
For advanced single-seat pursuit training, many pilots have good.
Look at this. This is beautiful. Wow. It's gorgeous. This is like an airplane helicopter. This is the C-124 cargo aircraft. If it has the C designator on there, that means cargo. For example, we have the C-5 Galaxy, the C-130. Those are cargo transport aircraft. They move heavy equipment and personnel around the world. Let's go inside the C-124. This aircraft is no longer in service. It used to be, but this will give you an idea of how big these things were because they had to be. These right here carried the troops. And I'm gonna tell you, I flew in C-130 many times just to work on them. And they had these types of seats. And when you're up there, your feet, they get cold.
Dad, you can just sit right here and look at the window. Look at the picture.
That's it? We can't even go to the cockpit.
Exiting. Over there is the B-52. I worked the communications and navigation systems on this aircraft. That aircraft is still in service. Here we have the F-22. This is a bad mamma jamma right here. It just looks mean. This is the F-80C. I worked something like this. We had the T-33 at Castle Air Force Base. It looks very similar in design and cosmetically to this aircraft. Oh, I worked the communications and navigation systems installed on board. And you'd find those systems, say, behind the cockpit, and panels you can open underneath the aircraft, and also inside the cockpit we had the control panels. This is called an egress system, or the system that ejects the pilot from the aircraft. Notice that he's grabbing on those yellow handles. So if you get in trouble, that's what you pull. Here's the F-86A Sabre. No longer in service, but back in the day, this was another bad mamma jamma, as I like to say. And this is the Russian MiG-15 bis. This is a B-26. B stands for, or it's the designator for bomber. B-1, B-2, B-52. Here, the B-26. Here we have the F-84E. I was talking to a fellow veteran back there, and I mentioned that I was a Vietnam era veteran. He looked at me, he says, "No way." I said, "Yeah. I was stationed at Clark Air Base during the time of the Vietnam War. Went TDY to Da Nang, Rocket City, for 2 weeks from Clark Air Base, Philippines. Didn't see any combat, heard some bombs though." This is the T-6. Can anyone guess what the T designator stands for? Well, if there's a T there, this aircraft was used for training. For example, the T-33 was used to train Air Force pilots as a prelude to put them into the F-type designators, F meaning fighters. Staff Sergeant. Man, this dude moved and looked at me, I'd be so embarrassed. B-52. We have the F-4 over here. I worked the communications and navigation systems on this one also. I mean, get right up close on these things. They're quite remarkable. And just to see one take off, it's like it does this. It doesn't do this. It does this. This is one huge aircraft. F-100. I saw these when I was in Minot Air Force Base, North Dakota, but they were not camouflage. They were metallic silver in color. The RF-101, I saw these also when I was in Minot Air Force Base, not camouflage, but in silver metallic. I guess he's shooting at that right there. Here's another aircraft that I work the communications and navigation systems on. This is not an O1G. Oh, that's an O1G. Oh, there's the O1 up there. This is the Martin B-57B. Here's another bomber belonging on services, the B-26K. Here's another aircraft I've seen plenty of in my early days in the Air Force, the F-105D. I was issued one of these flight jackets. I don't know what happened to it. This is the tail end of the F-4. Look at all the many different types of aircraft that ever existed. There's the SR-71 Blackbird, and there's the U-2. Does anyone know what this is? I'll give you a hint. The designator is a B. This is the B-2. Here's a Thunderbird painted in red, white, and blue. This is an F-16. Here's what the cockpit looks like. Here's another old cargo transport aircraft, the C-33E. There's another F-4 right over there. Here's an F-106. I always thought these F-106s were some of those beautiful things to see in the air because of their delta wing configuration. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. These big delta shaped wings. We had these in Minot Air Force Base. Look at that. To see a pilot go into a climb in one of these is a work of art. This is the MiG-29. Looks a lot like our F-15. Which is right here. You look at that aircraft right there, a Russian-made one, and look at this one here. What makes them look similar are the dual tails in the back. This is the F-117A Stealth. And this is actually one that's been retrofitted as a gunship. Oh, look at here. I worked and I taught this baby for 10 years, the A-10. This is a flying cannon. The A-10 Thunderbolt. This right here, this is that gun that's mounted right here. Man, that's quite something. Wow. Yep. It was primarily this aircraft here and the C-130. I taught this for 10 years when I was in the Field Training Detachment, Myrtle Beach Air Force Base. I taught repairing the comm-nav systems on board, removing the equipment, taking it inside, putting it on a workbench, troubleshooting, testing, repair, bringing it back out here and installing it. I taught all the test equipment associated with doing those types of repairs. It was really a fulfilling job. The A-10. And to see this thing flying, wow. To hear it flying. And this is the ammunition loader that the techs would use to load up the aircraft with munitions. See here, their missiles and bombs affixed to the bottom of the aircraft. This is the MH-53M. I did not work these. But this one here was retrofitted as a gunship as well. And here's the B-1B. Had these at Dyess Air Force Base in Texas. Next to the Marines, I always thought that the Air Force had nice uniforms, and even for the women who served. I love the blue. Here's the SR-71 Blackbird over here. Let's go take a look at it. The story behind this aircraft is that it was originally built as a fighter aircraft, but when it shot its bullets, its rounds, or whatever was firing, it would catch up with them. So this was converted into a reconnaissance type aircraft. Back in 1953, this thing had a camera on it that allowed the pilot, when he was flying technically in outer space, to zoom down over enemy territory and look at the cigarettes, or the type of cigarettes that whoever was on the ground was smoking. So that technology existed back in 1953. Can you imagine what we have now that's classified? Now it says here that the speed on this aircraft was 2,193 miles per hour. That's what they want you to know. Altitude, it can go as high as 85,000 feet. That's what they want you to know. I'm pretty sure it went far above that, and I'm pretty sure it went faster than that 2,193 miles per hour, and it can go a maximum distance of 15,000 miles. That's twice around the world. As it states there, in 1971, the SR-71 flew 15,000 miles non-stop in 10.5 hours, circumventing the continental United States twice, averaging about 1,500 miles per hour and slowing down only to refuel in flight. Of course, the Defense Department, they're never going to tell you the true capability of these aircraft, and that's understandable. But still quite impressive. Yeah, this thing traveled so fast that the edges here would turn a fiery red. Friction. And right above is the U-2. It was one of these types. This is also a reconnaissance aircraft back in the day, and this was the type that was shot down over Russian territory long ago. This is essentially a glider. It's a glider.
In the Space Gallery, the first airplane in Illinois to liberate the POWs in our Global Reach Gallery, the fighter version of the
They have a gift shop here. Moon cheese? What is that?